Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we check out Detroit Become Human. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Like I said, we are checking out Detroit Become Human here. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys have been awesome thus far. I thank everyone for taking the time out of their day to watch my videos. It means a lot to me, and you guys are awesome. Yeah, so today, like some of my last couple videos, we are jumping into a lot of my backlog. And today we're checking out Detroit Become Human. And this is, I don't even know how to explain this. It's like a movie video game. It's kind of like the mixture of two. It's very similar to Until Dawn that I just played not too long ago. And where you're more of like watching the game, and then every now and then you're hitting buttons to do certain things. Starting off with the story you follow three main, I guess, characters. You follow Connor, who is like this new android that is specifically designed to hunt and locate deviants. You also follow Marcus, an android that is like a prototype android. Doesn't ever say what kind of prototype he is. It's just that he's a prototype, and he is kind of a caretaker for a famous painter. And then last but not least, you have Kara, who is basically just a made android who's just tasked to clean the house, cook the food, cook the dinner, things like that. And each one of these stories is, that's just one thing that I really love about this game, is that the storytelling here is just so good. I love how each of these stories are vastly different, and then towards the end, they all kind of intertwine together towards the end, even though they end up kind of going their separate ways after that. But it's really cool. Like, specifically, let's dive into each character a little bit here. Connor, the AI that is specifically designed to find and hunt down deviants. And now these deviants are basically androids that are now doing whatever they want. They have their own free will now. They're making decisions, and you're tasked to hunt them down. And you're kind of paired up with Frank, who's this police officer detective. And it's kind of like the buddy cop kind of thing going on. You guys are going around, and I just love the chemistry between them two. How he has a history of, that he hates androids, and I just love how they're working together to figure this out. And kind of on a sidetrack, I love that the story has, like, my version of the story, it could be completely different from somebody else's playthrough. There's so many diverging paths. Like whenever you finish a level, it'll show you like all the different choices that you made and what led to the outcome that you got in each mission, each chapter. And when you're like looking through it, some don't have as many, but some of them are just filled with different outcomes. I'm like, holy cow, like there was literally like 7 different outcomes for just this one level. And all the choices that you make from then on carry over to the next level. So decisions that you made, whether it was involving a character or your relationship with a character, whether or not a character died, or whatever happened to, certain people, that carries on to the next chapter, which also influences your choices. Some choices aren't there. Some of them you'll see will be locked because you didn't make the choices, you didn't make the right choices in that last chapter to be able to unlock that dialogue. For instance, like you talk with Frank when you're Connor, you get to know the dog's name and a little bit about his family. And so towards the very end, when Connor is, there's another Connor that's coming to take his place, and Frank has to decide between the two, you get that extra unlock thing because you built up a relationship with Frank, and so Frank immediately knows that's you and shoots the other deviant, if that makes sense. I know that guy kind of diverged off the path here, but then you got Marcus, Marcus is probably one of I actually love all 3 of these stories. They're all super well done, well crafted. You have Marcus, who just starts out as just a caretaker for an old painter, and he immediately gets put into like this conflict with the painter's son, who you could tell is some sort of druggie or is looking for money for drugs, things like that. And you're faced with the decision whether to push the painter's son or to just let him be. And I chose to push him, which escalated it. And then, long story short, Marcus, is also a prototype, which I think is why he's able to like make other deviants, because he just goes up to them and touches them and can basically break them out of this being controlled kind of thing. He always is like, you're free, like follow me kind of thing like that. And he ends up becoming the leader of the androids of Jericho and all these other places. and it's super awesome. I just love his story. And then Kara is our last one. She, like I said, she's just a maid. She cleans the house, cooks the dinner, but she's also tasked with protecting the child. And it starts out with her as being broken, but you find out real soon that the reason she was broken is because the father is super abusive and he just beats on the robots, right? And he tells Alice, which is the little girl, to go up to her room and that he's going to go beat her, and that she's got conflicting, protocol. She was told to stay put, but also the child is in danger, and so she chooses to save the child, and they end up not kidnapping her, but she takes him and rescues her away. And I really love the story. She wants to be this mother figure, and Alice, that we thought was human this whole time, is looking up to her as a mother figure that she never had. And turns out that Alice was a freaking robot the entire time. I was like, that actually kind of caught me off guard. I was not expecting that at all. But she is just trying to protect Alice and get them across to Canada, where they have not as strict android laws as America does. And it's really cool to see all three of these stories, Connor, Marcus, and Kara, all kind of divulge and turn around into where they eventually intertwine into one place. And I thought that was really cool. And that, like I said, that is one of the biggest pluses with Detroit Become Human, is that the storytelling here is just top notch. I was literally like hooked in from like the first hour. Like the way that they treated the androids, the way that they told the story was very captivating. It had me hooked. I played this game through like 4 times. Actually, I didn't finish my 4th playthrough, but I played it through 3 times, trying to make different decisions. And that's another thing that I really like about this game, is that the choices you make in this game, they do matter. And similar to Until Dawn, except for Until Dawn gives you 1 or 2 choices, then it don't tell you what the outcome is. Here it's like, no, you have tons of choices. There's no save button. So when you make a decision, you're locked in, and it saves it through that progress, right? And I love seeing at the end of each mission the timetable type thing, the timeline that brings up at the end, showing each one of your decisions and like which path you ended up taking. And some of them have so many, like I said. Another thing that I actually really liked about this game is that the graphics were top notch. From the moment I was like, wow, this is actually really good, even for a PlayStation 4 game. This came out, I believe, in 2015, 2014, one of those dates. So it's been, 8 or 9 years since this game's come out, and it looks awesome. I played it on the PlayStation 5, and I couldn't believe how good the game looks. Like, especially for an older title, it looked amazing. While we're on that topic of how the game looks, all the acting was awesome. Like, yes, every now and then there might have been some cheesy lines here and there, but I think all the acting, as far as like the actual actors go, from Marcus, from Connor, Kara, even, I forget his name, but he plays Mr. Krabs. I recognize the voice, and all these other different characters. Like, all the acting was very well done. All the facial animations was very well done, and that's what I think that kind of ties into the storytelling here, is that Quantic Dream does a fantastic job with the storytelling. And it's been a long time since I played a game and immediately wanted to jump back in and do another playthrough. Very rarely does that happen with games, at least for me nowadays. Usually I play it and it's more like one and done. This one was like, oh, I beat it. All right, let's jump back in and do a brand new, playthrough. We talked about a little bit of the things that I liked. Now some of the things that I didn't quite like. Basically, the game, you don't really play the game, if that makes sense. Yes, it's a game. It's a movie, interactive. I would say more of like an interactive movie. Just like Until Dawn, you're not really playing. You're basically just moving from checkpoint to checkpoint, pushing the buttons that it wants you to push. They're all like those, at least here in, not Until Dawn, here in Detroit Become Human, they're all like the action scenes they're the QuickTime buttons, where you have to push a button really fast in a certain order. You have to push right, left, L2 and L1 at the same time. Like, it's very quick, and that's pretty much the extent of the gameplay. Anytime that you're just running around, like, you can't run. You're basically just going from checkpoint to checkpoint, trying to find different tasks. You do get an ability that you can do, like the L2, which kind of pauses everything and makes you do like a scan, so you can scan the room, look for hidden items. There's even a portion where you're trying to jump ledges, and you can kind of simulate which would be the perfect path so you don't get hurt or injured. Or even better yet, later in the game, you try to get one of the droids that are flying around in the sky, the spy cameras, and you have to figure out the best way to get it in time. So it's like things like that, but it's all like quick time button presses. There's no actual combat. There's no actual gunplay. It's just, you peek over the corner and you hit L2 when it tells you to hit L2 or R2. You know what I mean? Like you hit the dodge button when it tells you to get over. Like, so it's all just quick time buttons, and I didn't really like that. It's kind of like Quantic Dream literally does 10 out of 10 storytelling, 10 out of 10 acting, 10 out of 10, graphics. Like, the game looked awesome, but then as far as like actual gameplay goes, it was not very good. It's literally kind of like that one what's that? That Black Mirror like interactive movie where you can make decisions. That's basically what this was, except for it was, a game. It was animated. And that was one of the things that I just didn't really like as far as the game. Like, don't get me wrong, I still thought it was fantastic, but I just wish that there's a little bit more like gameplay. Like a little bit more, like, let me actually have some sort of combat mechanics. Let me have some sort of gameplay instead of just button presses. Quick time button presses when it says. So that was like, I guess my biggest hiccup here is that I just didn't really like that. This game has so many outcomes. That's one of the things that I also really liked after playing it a few times. I love that there are so many different outcomes to every chapter, pretty much. Almost every chapter has at least two different, ways you could go. A lot of these chapters had multiple different ways that they could have gone, depending on your decisions, depending on what things you did to a character a few chapters ago, things like that. And I just loved it. Just makes it so that there's a ton of replayability, and that's one of the things that I loved about this game. Final thoughts. I think this is my first Quantic Dream game, and from what I've heard, the guy that makes this game makes a lot of these games, and it's very good storytelling wise. Here, Detroit Become Human is a fantastic story. Like, if you guys haven't played this yet, I highly recommend playing it. Just on the story alone was really good. A lot of, like, I guess, social issues that I guess are kind of prevalent today, but like in the future in Detroit with androids, and I don't know, I actually really liked it. I loved the storytelling. I loved seeing the struggles that all of these, different androids went through, like Marcus, where he was just trying to be free and just wanted to live his life, and just all these things that were happening to him, and Connor is like battling with doing what he's programmed to do and what he knows is right. And I just loved like the moral dilemma with almost all of these characters. And like I said, the story here is awesome. The animations here is awesome. The graphics looked amazing. The voice acting and I think they did motion capture for a lot of this, and the facial acting is just all top notch. 10 out of 10s for like all of those. And like I said earlier, the gameplay is just severely lacking. It's like the storytelling is they're on polar opposite sides of the spectrum. Storytelling, graphics, everything 10. Gameplay over here is just garbage. I don't know. I still really enjoyed it. Like I said, this was one of the few games where I beat it and I immediately jumped back in to another playthrough. And actually, after beating it a second time, I jumped back in for a third playthrough. I just wanted to see what I could do. And there are so many different endings for each of these. I got a totally different ending for almost all of them. Connor died like 6 times in one of my playthroughs. And it's just, there's a ton of good stuff here. Overall, guys, I would give Detroit Become Human a 9 out of 10. I think this was awesome. I do wish that there's a little bit more gameplay. Even if they gave us something little, this would easily be a 10 out of 10 game for me. But it was just severely lacking. Like I said, the storytelling, I feel like, totally makes up for it. The voice acting totally makes up for it. All these different outcomes for each chapters is amazing. If you guys haven't played it yet, I highly recommend it. It is on the PlayStation Plus. Like, if you have the PlayStation 5, like, it's one of the free games. Like, there's like 20 in that catalog where you can get a free game. But yeah, honestly, guys, I highly recommend it. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of Detroit Become Human. I know it's been out for a while. Like I said, we're chipping away on that backlog. We still got tons more. Stay tuned. We are going to have more videos coming out every single week for the next couple weeks. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing if you are new. You guys are awesome, and we'll catch you on the next video.